the ring. Frodo! It's taken hold of you.
You have the gift of foresight. Tell me what you have seen.
He is not coming back.
The defenses have to hold.
They will hold.
There's nothing for you here. Only death.
There is still hope.
It was hard work, basically, as you can imagine. You know, there's no way to shortcut the process. You've just got to work very, very hard, have a passion for what you do, and you know, it was made. We made the films that we wanted to see. Really, you know, that was I think one of the important things is that we really wanted to see these films, so we had to make them ourselves.
Well, it also...
This one, can you describe what sort of the Merry can we expect in the second movie?
You know, well, Gollum is really a combination of having Andy Serkis, a really great actor, who really guided us through the role, and then the animators and effects people at Weta in New Zealand, who are the most amazing special effects guys on earth. The animation is so beautiful, and the way that I think for the very first time we've animated a character who has real emotion and depth. And so, you know, a lot of people worked very, very hard to bring Gollum to life, and I think it worked out pretty well.
When I signed on to this incredibly unique kind of opportunity, I expected to go to New Zealand and sort of have an experience that was like an adventure, a journey that I'd have to go through with these people that would in some ways mirror that of the book, and it kind of did. I think it may have been more intense and more difficult than I expected it to be, but in a lot of ways, I think it was exactly as I'd imagined it to be. I think it was actually easier than one would imagine, because Andy Serkis, the actor who plays Gollum, was there for most of those scenes, and we would work them out just as any kind of actors would. The only difference is that we would then take him out, and I'd do the scene without anyone there, so it was kind of like acting with thin air. But he made it so much easier, and I think he went to such a degree with his character that we kind of believed it. We believed that we were working with Gollum, and he was unbelievable. And that voice as well. I mean, that voice kind of does everything.
Thank you. And how did you come about finding his voice?
Well, kind of two things really. One, I wanted to find out where his kind of where his pain was really carried, you know, as a character, and so it was like a kind of involuntary action, you know, that it was gripping around his vocal cords to do with how he got the ring, murdering his cousin, but also physically how I found it through our cats. Actually, we had 3 cats at home, and yeah, exactly. And when they get fur trapped in the back of their throats, their whole body convulses, you know, and they're doing that, and then that comes, you know. So that's kind of where that came from.
Can you do me just a little piece?
Oh, if you want me to, my precious.
Thank you so much. Hi, how are you? I told you that already. It really added a lot of depth to the character for me. Because elves are supposed to everything about them is like their speaking voices and their singing voices are supposed to be really beautiful. And obviously my American accent is not that gorgeous, so the Elvish was really nice. What?
What's making that noise? It's the trees. What? Do you remember the old forest on the borders of Buckland? Folk used to say there was something in the water that made the trees grow tall and come alive. Alive. Trees could whisper, talk to each other, even move.
I just wanted to ask you what it was like, the experience of working with the Ents.
The Ents, it was quite a strange experience, but a lot of fun. They actually built Treebeard, He was a 20-foot animatronic, the biggest animatronic ever made for a movie. And me and Dom would sit up on top of him for 11 or 12 hours a day. And it became quite surreal, you know, because we'd get strapped in for safety. And we'd just stay up there during tea breaks. It was so much trouble to try and get down that they would just hand us up a cup of tea each. And we'd just sit there. And everyone else would leave the studio.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever say goodbye, really. You know, I'll hang on to elements of Merry all the time. I think there's a real positive outlook on life that he has, and you know, he's quite honest and he's quite sharp and quick-witted, and I think I'll take those things with me, you know, after we finish.
Yeah, at least I get to be taller than Dobby.
For 3 years now, I have been saying to anybody who'd listen to me, guys, we're making a masterpiece. Peter Jackson is making one of the great trilogies of all time. And now we've got to part 2, and most of the critics in America and Europe have seen it. And it's very hard to find someone who says wrong. They're all saying, you're right, this is a masterpiece.
I knew the books backwards. I read them every year since they came out. And I saw the books that I knew so well just being literally transformed from the printed page into reality before my eyes. And the great thing about these films is that when you look at them, you don't look at actors dressed up. You look at real people. At least that's the feeling I have.
Sauron's forces have begun their attack. He is using Saruman to destroy your people.
They were unarmed. They had no warning.
This is but a taste of the terror that Saruman will unleash. Must fight.
I will not risk open war.
Open war is upon you, whether you would risk it or not.
A new power is rising. Its victory is at hand.
An army bred for a single purpose, to destroy the world of men.
It was fantastic. You know, I love the French audience. France is just such a great cinema country, and it's they were warm and they laughed in the right places and clapped, and it was a great screening. Lovely big theatre. I mean, the Rex is just so amazing. It's like one of the old picture houses, grand old picture houses. So I'm really, you know, honoured basically to have my film there. Just honoured. I can't quite tell.
It was really good. I think they really went with it. You know, there was a few cheers, some people, you know, clapping during the movie, which, you know, is unusual for movies. So it's great. It seemed to go very well. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think it was just an amazing film, and it had great character representation and just amazing, amazing things.
What was your favorite part?
Probably the battle scenes. I think they were really well laid out.
You know what? I loved it even more than the first one. The first one, I was like so taken by the whole universe and how it just took us in, and we were introduced to the characters. Somehow now, because you're familiar with them and you know what they look like, you've gotten used to the you know, Peter Jackson's proposition. I was totally compelled in this story. There's more action, it's more wars. I mean, have we seen battle shot like that? I mean, forget Joan of Arc, forget anything else you've seen. It's just so compelling, and you root so much for Aragorn.